بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألف لام ميم ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين.
Interpretation of the Holy Quran.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. With the help of Allah, we started to have a brief interpretation of Quran. We were talking about chapter Baqarah. Chapter Baqarah is the longest chapter of Quran, and it has the verse of Ayatul Kursi and the verse of Lawn in it, which is the longest verse of Quran. Please listen to verse 16 of this chapter.
أولئك الذين اشتروا الضلالة بالهدى فما ربحت تجارتهم وما كانوا مهتدين.
Allah says, أولئك الذين اشتروا الضلالة بالهدى فما ربحت تجارتهم وما كانوا مهتدين. These are they who buy error for the right direction. So their bargain shall bring no gain, nor are they the followers of the right directions. In previous verses, Allah explained the situation of hypocrites. And in this verse, Allah continues and says, these people make a business. أولئك الذين اشتروا الضلالة بالهدى. These people have bought something and sold something. They had the guidance and they sold it. And instead of that, they bought al-dhalala. And dhalala means wrong direction or misguidance. فَمَا رَبِحَتْ تِجَارَتُهُمْ. And Allah says it was not a good bargain for them. They lost it. وَمَا كَانُوا مُهْتَدِينَ. And definitely these people are not in a right direction. In this verse, Allah is talking about ishtara. Ishtara, it means to buy something. When we buy something, it means we have something, we give it to others, it means we have money or some items, we give to others and we replace with something else. So all the time, ishtara, it means to give something and to take something else. And here regarding to hypocrites, Allah says, they ishtaraw al-dhalala bil-huda. They gave hidayah and guidance and they took al-dhalala, wrong direction, misguidance. Here we have a question that, okay, the hypocrites did not have the guidance from the beginning sometimes. From the beginning sometimes they were very bad people. They were in a wrong direction from the beginning. Since they understood their duties and responsibility, they have chosen the bad sometimes. And how Allah regarding to these people says, اشتروا الضلالة بالهدى. They bought ضلالة and they gave huda and hidayah and guidance. Actually, in different verses of Quran, Allah has brought such a words and said اشتروا or اشترى. They bought it, or a person ishtara bought. We should understand that the meaning of ishtara here doesn't mean really they had the guidance. It means they had the capacity of that. When a person has a capacity of being in a straight path and will go in a wrong direction, we can say that he sold the guidance and he bought right direction. He bought wrong direction. So we will see that when he has a capacity, it is enough to say that he has given because he had the source. When a person, for example, he had a situation to go to college, to university, and he didn't do anything, we said, you changed it, you know. You changed the knowledge with ignorance. Of course, he didn't change. He didn't have knowledge from the beginning. It means he had the capacity of getting knowledge and he changed it to ignorant. Or another person, he had a lot of money. He could make a very good house and make a lot of money and he didn't do it. We said, you changed your money with others, with something that you lost it. Although he didn't buy it, but since he could buy, we said, you changed it. It means you could buy a house and have a wonderful house. We say, you changed the house with something that it doesn't worth it. Although he didn't have the house, he didn't buy it, but he had the money of buying the house. In this verse is the same when Allah says, أولئك الذين اشتروا الضلالة بالهدى. These people bought الضلالة بالهدى. It means they bought error for the right direction. They had the capacity to stay in a straight path and have a right direction. They did not use their capacity and bought error for themselves. In other verses, Allah has brought the same word in chapter Al Imran, verse 177. Allah says, إن الذين اشتروا الكفر بالإيمان لن يضر الله شيئا. Surely those who have bought unbelief at the price of faith. They bought unbelief at the price of belief and faith. It means they had a faith. No, sometimes they did not have a faith from the beginning, but they had the capacity to have belief, to have faith, and they did not use their capacity. Because of that, Allah says, اشتروا الكفر بالإيمان. It means you changed your capacity of having knowledge, you changed it with unbelief. لن يضر الله شيئا. They should know that do not harm at Allah, at all to Allah. They are not going to harm Allah. Be sure that if you do not believe in Allah, you are not going to hurt Allah. If you do not pray, you are not going to hurt Allah. If we don't worship Allah, we are hurting ourselves in a state of hurting Allah. In another verse, chapter Baqarah, verse 86, Allah is talking about buying this world and selling akhirah. It means resurrection day, paradise. Although we didn't have paradise, but since we had time, we had power, we had intellect, and we could buy, but by these tools that we have, we could buy paradise, and we didn't buy it. Allah says, okay, you gave your capacity and your facilities and your tool, and you got this world, and you are losers. أولئك, Allah says in that chapter when He is talking about the Bani Israel, children of Israel, Allah says, أولئك الذين اشتروا الحياة الدنيا بالآخرة. These are they who buy the life of this world for the hereafter. It means they were happy to have the life in this world, to enjoy in this world. They said, this is sin, that's okay. God is going to punish us, that's okay. Only they got this world and they gave the hereafter. In another verse, chapter Baqarah, verse 175, Allah is talking about buying Allah's punishment and Allah's angriness and in a state of Allah's forgiveness. When Allah is talking about Ahlul Kitab, Allah says, Ahl al-Kitab, especially Jew, they اشتروا الضلالة بالهدى والعذاب بالمغفرة. These people, أولئك الذين اشتروا الضلالة بالهدى, these are they who buy error for the right direction, والعذاب بالمغفرة, and chastisement. They bought chastisement of Allah in a state of forgiveness. It means they could ask forgiveness, they could stay in a right direction, and they didn't do it, and they achieved Allah's punishment. So the meaning of selling, it doesn't mean selling the paradise or maghfirah itself, it means selling the capacity. And here when Allah says al-dhalalata bil-huda, it means the capacity of being guided and being in a right direction, selling this capacity and buying the error. There are a few messages that we can get from this verse. One, from this verse we understand that hypocrites are considered like children who do not understand what is in their benefit. They don't know what is good for them and what is bad for them. They buy something and they lose something. A person who is educated, who has knowledge, who has intellect, when he wants to buy something, he thinks a lot that how much he can make it. He wants to add something to something that he has it already. But about hypocrites, Allah says they had wonderful things. They had hidayah for themselves, the tools for guidance and being in a straight path, and they sold and bought something that doesn't worth it. It means they do not understand what is good for them and what is bad. Also, when Allah says, اشتروا الضلالة, these people bought, we understand that we are free to choose and to buy or sell. So we are the one who buy the misguidance for ourselves, to buy the hell for ourselves, to buy Allah's chastisement for ourselves. We cannot say we are not free. We cannot say we believe in predestination. We cannot say we are born in this place and we have no choice. All the time we have choice. Sometimes it is more difficult, which is exam. Also from this verse we understand that in the viewpoint of Allah, this world is a market. And in the people who are making business, we are the people. And the items is either paradise or hell. Either Allah's forgiveness or Allah's chastisement. And Allah says, hypocrites are those people who have chosen for themselves to buy error for themselves. Also when Allah says, فَمَا رَبِحَتْ تِجَارَتُهُمْ وَمَا كَانُوا مُهْتَدِينَ, Allah says, so their bargain shall bring no gain, nor are they the followers of the right directions. We understand that the result and the end of hypocrites is losing. They have Allah's punishment. And the result and the end of the believers, as Allah said, ala hudam min rabbihim. At the end of the verse, Allah says, at the verse 5 of this chapter, when Allah was talking, the last verse that Allah was talking about believers, Allah says, ulaika ala hudam min rabbihim. These people are in a right direction. They are guided by the Lord, by Allah. So the end of the believers and righteous people are being in a right direction, and at the end of the hypocrites, as Allah says, وَمَا كَانُوا مُهْتَدِينَ, and they are not the followers of right direction. We ask Allah to help us to be among the righteous people and to stay far from hypocrites Thank you very much for watching. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.